Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we deliver the operational knowledge you need to be seriously well-informed, skipping all the noise.
In a day, we are taking you straight into the kitchen.
Yeah, a place where I think for a lot of people, confusion is just rampant. We're talking about cooking oils.
What's healthy, what's safe, and I think most importantly, what actually tastes good.
Right. If you look at your pantry shelf and you see all those bottles and just, feel like you're playing oil roulette every time you cook.
Which a lot of people do.
This deep dive is for you. It's your shortcut. We've synthesized sources straight from culinary schools, historical texts, to really understand how the pros decide.
It's about their logic.
Exactly. And the premise we're working with, it really cuts through all the dietary trends and the marketing. It's deceptively simple.
It is. The rule is match the fat to the food.
Not the trend.
Not the trend. This is the foundation. It's about recognizing that oil is a functional ingredient.
A tool for a job.
Precisely. This is about function, not just, chemistry or calories. We are pushing back hard against that one-size-fits-all idea.
Because that leads to burned food.
And wasted money. Our mission here is to give you that aha moment, that click where you understand you're balancing two things, durability and flavor.
Durability against heat and the flavor it brings to the dish.
Yes. When we're done here, you're going to understand that relationship, and you'll know exactly what to grab, whether you're searing a steak or just making a salad dressing.
Okay, let's unpack that. I think we have to start with the most demanding environment for any oil, right? High heat.
Absolutely. We're talking frying, deep frying, searing a steak, high-temp baking.
These are the methods that require an absolute workhorse oil.
Yeah, the challenge here is really twofold. First, you need an oil that's not going to break down and, fill your kitchen with smoke.
And second, its taste can't get in the way. It can't overwhelm what you're actually cooking.
Exactly. Which brings us to a fundamental chef's rule, a guiding principle for this whole section.
And that is?
As the heat increases, the flavor of the oil must decrease.
As heat increases, flavor decreases. Okay, that makes sense. But why chemically?
Well, it's because those flavorful compounds, the things that make an oil taste interesting, they're what we call volatile.
They're unstable.
They're the first things to burn off. They leave behind these acrid, bitter flavors. That's what you're seeing and smelling when an oil smokes. It's not just a number on a bottle. It's the fat literally breaking down into nasty stuff.
So for high heat, durability is everything. We need stability. What are the go-to choices then?
The sources point to two main types of refined neutral oils. First is rapeseed oil, which you probably know as canola oil.
Right.
It's prized for its high smoke point, its neutral profile. It's great for just general frying. Second is a refined sunflower oil, also really good for stability.
Okay, but this is where we can also inject some historical context, maybe push back a bit on the modern trends.
Yes. For people who want maximum flavor and that uncompromising durability, the sources point straight to traditional animal fats.
Like beef tallow and suet.
Exactly. And the mechanism there is key. Animal fats are higher in saturated fatty acids, so their molecular structure is just more stable.
It's more robust.
It resists breaking down at high temperatures way better than most plant oils. And that stability, that's what lets you get the pan incredibly hot, and that's how you get that perfect crispy texture.
That deep Maillard reaction.
A reaction that, the neutral seed oils just can't really achieve in the same way.
Okay, so that's the what to use, just as important as what to avoid. Let's talk about maybe the biggest mistake people make.
Using extra virgin olive oil for frying.
Why is that such a bad idea?
It's because of everything we just said. EVOO is packed with all those wonderful volatile compounds, the polyphenols, the things that give it that peppery finish.
The things you're paying for.
Yes. And those are the very first things to break down and smoke. It's a low durability fat. You're just burning your money.
But wait, I see light olive oil or pure olive oil in the store, and they say it's good for high heat. Is that just marketing?
That's a great question. It's a bit of both. I mean, it's marketing, but there's also chemistry. The refining process does strip out a lot of those volatile compounds.
So it raises the smoke point.
It does, significantly. So technically, is it more durable than EVO? Yes. But you've sacrificed all the flavor that made it special, and you're still paying a premium for a product that probably doesn't perform as well as a basic rapeseed oil.
So it's a trade-off that's just not worth it.
Most professional kitchens don't think so. And finally, a really strict warning here. Those delicate oils like walnut, flaxseed, almond oil.
Keep them away from the stove.
Far away. They have zero business being near high heat. They'll burn instantly and ruin your dish. End of story.
All right, so high heat demands neutrality, stability. Let's completely shift gears now. Let's talk about medium heat cooking.
A fun zone.
Sautéing, gentle pan frying. This is where the goal shifts to maximizing flavor, but with, a level of control.
This is absolutely the sweet spot. This is where the fat stops being just a tool and starts being an ingredient. And the primary recommendation here is a good, natural olive oil.
Not extra virgin, just a standard natural olive oil.
Right. It has enough resilience for the pan, but its flavor profile is present. It enhances things without just dominating them. It's a real workhorse.
But this brings us to the great medium heat problem.
The butter dilemma.
The butter dilemma. It adds this incredible richness, but it burns so easily. Why is that? It's a fat. Shouldn't it be stable?
But it's not just fat. It's a stable fat surrounded by unstable solids.
A milk solid.
The proteins and sugars, yeah. And they burn at a much lower temperature than the actual butter fat. That's what gives you that beautiful brown butter, that beer noisette flavor.
But it's a very fine line.
A very fine line before it becomes a disaster.
So what's the chef's trick? How do we get that glorious butter flavor without all the black, burnt bits on our food?
The technique is basically dilution, physical stabilization. You combine the butter with a small amount of a neutral high smoke point oil.
Like the rapeseed oil from before.
Exactly. That neutral oil acts like a heat buffer.
Yeah.
It insulates the delicate milk solids and just dramatically delays the point where they start to burn.
So how much are we talking?
The sources are pretty clear. About 20% neutral oil to 80% butter when you're sautéing. It just buys you crucial time and control. It turns butter from a risk into a reliable tool.
That is a fantastic takeaway. The oil is basically protecting the butter so it can do its job.
Precisely. And while we're on medium heat flavor, we have to mention one specialty fat. For any kind of Eastern or Asian cooking,
Sesame oil?
it's essential, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But a word of warning, it is potent. A little goes a very long way.
Okay, so now we flip the script completely. We're leaving the heat behind. Let's talk about applications where the oil is purely a carrier for aroma or a component for texture.
Cold applications, salads, dips, appetizers. Here, the goal is simple.
Mhm.
You want the fat's aroma to absolutely shine.
Which brings us to a new golden rule, one that's the complete opposite of what we said before.
Exactly. The principle is aroma in the cold, durability in the heat.
So all those oils we had to reject for high heat.
Now they're the superstars. Extra virgin olive oil is the undisputed king here. All those volatile, flavorful compounds are perfectly preserved. You get that fresh, grassy, peppery hit.
It's not just EVOO.
No, expand your horizons. This is where those super delicate fats like walnut oil, almond oil, and the nutritional powerhouse, flaxseed oil, come into their own. They provide this incredible depth.
And we have to repeat that critical warning about flaxseed oil. It's important.
It is absolutely critical. Flaxseed oil has unique properties, but chemically, it has almost zero heat tolerance. It is a supplement. It is a drizzle. It must never go near a flame.
Got it. Raw ingredient only. Okay, what about baking and desserts? The goal shifts again here, right?
It does. Now we're focused intensely on texture and mouthfeel. The fat is a structural element.
And the classic choice is, of course, butter.
Naturally. For almost all Western baking, butter provides that characteristic richness, that flaky structure. It's a classic for a reason.
But the sources mention some fascinating historical choices, too.
Yes, especially from palace and traditional cuisines. Almond oil, for instance, has a long history in sweets, giving a really subtle flavor and a moist texture.
And coconut oil.
The tropical option. It provides a different kind of richness, a different structure, but again, you have to use it carefully because that flavor can easily take over.
And a big warning for baking. Why do we avoid those neutral industrial oils that were so good for frying?
Because the very thing that made them good for frying, their stability and lack of complexity, actively works against you in baking. They don't have the right structure or water content. You end up with something that's just greasy or dense, not light and flaky.
Okay, let's get practical. Let's apply these principles to some specific dishes, starting with something a lot of people find tricky: fish and seafood.
Fish is tricky because it's so delicate. If you try to sear a piece of sea bass in a flavorful olive oil, you'll burn the oil before you ever crisp the skin.
The guiding principle here has to be the fish is the star.
Not the fat. Which leads us to the chef's secret for fish, which is a dual fat approach.
2 fats for 1 dish.
Right. You use a neutral high smoke point oil, like our friend rapeseed oil, for the actual cooking, the searing. You need that stable high heat for a crust.
And then you add the flavor.
Then you add the flavor. You could drizzle with the beautiful extra virgin olive oil after it comes off the grill, Or you add a knob of butter right at the end of pan searing to create a quick sauce.
Neutral for the cook, aromatic for the flavor. That's a great piece of logic. What about slow-cooked stews and pot dishes?
Here, the fat's job is depth and binding. It's a long, slow cook, so it needs to resist going rancid, but it doesn't need that extreme high heat resilience.
And the choices are pretty regional.
Very regional, but also functional. Olive oil is the clear choice for Mediterranean stews. Butter or suet for Northern European dishes where you want that deep, rich quality.
And for Eastern cuisines.
A small amount of sesame oil might go in, usually later in the process, to provide that foundational flavor layer.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's just review some of the big, clear warnings from the source material, the mental guardrails.
First, and we've said it a few times, flaxseed oil never, ever sees heat. It's a supplement, not a cooking fat.
Second, extra virgin olive oil is not for deep frying. Use it cold or with very, very gentle heat.
Third, you have to avoid the trap of the one oil for everything. It just guarantees failure somewhere.
And finally, a long shelf life doesn't automatically mean it's a good fat.
And if we look back at history, none of this is new. Sophisticated cuisines, the Romans, the Ottomans, they knew all of this. They never used a single oil. They always chose the oil for the specific task.
They matched the fat to the food.
They matched the fat to the food. The olive grove gave them cold flavor, and animal fats gave them high heat stability. It's ancient wisdom.
So we've really transformed this from a guessing game into a conscious choice. It's about function, temperature, flavor, technique.
You now have the logic. You understand the difference between durability and aroma.
The question is, what's next?
Exactly. Now that you know the basics of how to pair fats to their function, how do you optimize your own pantry without needing, a dozen different bottles?
That raises a great final question for you to think about.
Based on these principles, high heat, medium flavor, and cold aroma, what 3 specific essential oils should you always keep in your home kitchen to cover, say, 95% of every possible cooking task?
Thinking through that prioritization, that's knowledge worth taking further.
That's the next step.
That is your challenge. Until next time. Thanks for taking the deep dive.